Welcome to Sound of Hope News. My name is Daniela Wolensack, and today is July 6th. The Chinese government has been trafficking young children under the euphemism social reallocation. One family requests an investigation into their missing child. Multi-talented celebrity Namewee Wong reflects on Hong Kong's artistic impact on the world. He states, "Those who have participated in the most glorious creative era of Hong Kong have either kneeled or left." Chinese Vice Premier Liu He held a video call with U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen on July 5th. The topic was America's tariffs on China and the impacts of changing them. Finally, former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo discusses the possibility that China will take over Taiwan. He urges the U.S. to change its abstract Taiwan policy. Let's get into it. Earlier this year, the Suzhou chained woman incident sparked a huge public outcry against woman trafficking in China. Recently, another case of human trafficking was exposed, and this time the government was involved. Earlier this month, a letter from the local health bureau in Quanzhou County sparked outrage online in China. A couple had sent the letter requesting an investigation into the disappearance of their one-year-old boy. The parents suspected their son had been abducted in 1990. The couple, Tang Yueying and Deng Zhengsheng, had 4 boys and 3 girls, 7 children. The oldest was born in 1969 and the missing 7th born in 1989. Tang and Deng had never stopped looking for their child and had sent numerous complaints to bureaus. The mother, Tang, said, if their son were still alive, he would have been 33 years old. According to local news, the parents recently filed a petition for police in the county of Quanzhou to investigate. However, the Quanzhou Health Bureau refused. On July 1st, the authority replied that the baby had not been abducted but taken away for social reallocation under China's one-child policy at the time. The Bureau also added there was no record of the whereabouts of children who were allocated for the convenience of family planning work rolled out across the country. The case has stirred anger towards the government on Chinese social media. The hashtag Quanzhou #overbornkid case gained over 60 million views. One netizen questioned, what do they mean by social reallocation? Isn't this human trafficking? Others shared personal stories of how their families had been affected over the decades by the disastrous one-child policy. China's one-child policy was a program that limited most Chinese families to 1 child each. It was implemented nationwide in 1980, and it ended in 2016. During that period, the Chinese regime routinely enforced family planning measures, including fines, to punish illegal births. More coercive measures such as forced abortions and mass sterilizations were also used. The child's mother claimed that the family had already paid fines to their local official to allow having more than 1 child, yet her child was taken away despite this, according to Caixin News. In 2011, New York Times reported the local government officials used the babies as a source of revenue, often putting them up for adoption if their families could not pay the fines. But how widespread this was is not clear. On Tuesday, July 5th, the Guilin sitting government declared that Quanzhou's Health Bureau chief and vice chief had been suspended from work. An investigation began. On July 4th, Malaysian-born multimedia actor Namewee Wong posted a tribute on social media to the famous Hong Kong science fiction writer, novelist, and screenwriter Ni Kuang, who passed away on July 3rd. Wong said, "The spirit of Hong Kong's artistic creation has passed away with these great artists." Wong writes that he was once asked, "Why are your works so daring?" He replied, "I learned it from the people of Hong Kong." During that free and unrestrained era, Hong Kong's music, movies, books, comics, and other artworks influenced Chinese and even non-Chinese people all over the world. The diversity and boldness of the subject matter brought this small place to the international stage. On the contrary, those who have participated in the most glorious creative era of Hong Kong have either kneeled or left, which makes people sigh. Wong said that since he was a child, he has been reading Ni Kuang's novels and movies, and he has seen not only the creativity, but also the true spirit of freedom of creation, freedom of thought, and freedom of speech in them, which had a profound influence on his own creative work later. Wong also praised Ni Kuang for not being afraid of being targeted and not being afraid of affecting his own interests, which is the will of creative people to pursue freedom. Chinese Vice Premier Liu He held a video call with the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen on July 5th. The meeting was described as frank and substantive. It was reported earlier that the White House is expected to announce an adjustment plan on Chinese tariffs this week. People in the industries pointed out that the Biden administration is likely to remove some China tariffs, but such moves are highly contested due to differences in China policy in the U.S. government. According to the Chinese Commerce Ministry, Liu raised concern about tariffs on China's exports during the meeting, but the U.S. Treasury Department's press release did not include any mention of tariffs. Instead, Secretary Yellen focused on the impact of the Russia-Ukrainian war on the economy and China's unfair economic policies. Conversely, Yellen's comments also did not appear in the CCP press release. The Wall Street Journal reported that there is a big divide within the White House on China policy. Many companies, trade unions, Senate, and Congress members have rejected the idea of lowering tariffs on China imports. They also called for resolving issues caused by the CCP's unfair trade practices. Some reports said that the U.S. government is likely to announce a moratorium on tariffs on products such as clothing and school supplies this week. But in consideration of trade fairness, the U.S. government may still launch a new round of 301 tariff investigations. This will probably lead to tariffs on additional Chinese products. Former USTR China Affairs Officer Claire Reid said, "From an American domestic perspective, there are two very strong and conflicting concerns. One is the strong determination to fight inflation, and the other is the need to show a tough stance against Beijing." She thinks the challenge is how to integrate these different concerns into a policy. Analysts at the Peterson Institute for International Economics also commented on the situation, saying, "The removal of tariffs on Chinese products could lower the U.S. Consumer Price Index, CPI, by only 0.26%. Even after considering industry competitive issues, the drop can be up to just 1%. Many Republican senators pointed out a fact that there has been little inflation in the 2+ years since the China tariffs were imposed. They warned that removing tariffs would encourage more bad behavior from the Beijing government. Tariff removal will also send Beijing a wrong signal that America is indifferent on this issue. Former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that it is possible that Russia's invasion of Ukraine would allow Xi Jinping to reassess the Chinese Communist Party's ability to attack Taiwan. This was on July 4th at a symposium organized by the Policy Exchange, a conservative British think tank, according to the Central News Agency. Pompeo said that the U.S. should abandon its strategic ambiguity about Taiwan. So far, the U.S. has refused to acknowledge Taiwan as either part of China or an independent nation. Since Xi Jinping firmly thinks Taiwan belongs to China, the U.S. should face that reality and make its own stance clear. Pompeo stressed that Russia's military attack on Ukraine teaches us that ambiguity is more dangerous because the neighboring countries do not know how to react. Ambiguity only gives the authoritarian government more opportunities to take advantage of it, and makes it difficult for democratic countries to respond in time. Xi Jinping also knows this very well. Pompeo pointed out that the issue of Taiwan also involves the 9-dash line in the South China Sea, the Philippines, Japan, and other neighboring regions and countries. This is a complex geopolitical issue and not only involves the island of Taiwan. Pompeo said that the biggest risk for Taiwan is not the Chinese Navy landing on the island, but the Chinese Communist Party's use of propaganda and intelligence offensives to overcome national security units. Similar tactics were used in Hong Kong. China will actively imprison people and control political power, so that after a few years, Taiwan's sovereignty will be reduced. He warned that Taiwan must find ways to prevent this. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you saw, please share this video with friends and family. See you tomorrow.